Ben McAdoo and his West Coast offense heads into year two with the G-Men after a pretty stellar debut. He wants New York to use more spread formations and play a little bit faster this season. It took Eli Manning a little bit of a while to get the hang of it all the new fundamentals, all the new footwork. When he dropped back, he kept his back to the end zone as opposed to turning his hips like he used to. He even stood differently in the shotgun. But I'd say he's coming off a very solid bounce-back season. And then there's Odell Beckham, who wowed the world, blew up social media after his insane one-handed grab against the Dallas Cowboys in a Sunday night game in November. My opinion, the best rookie season since Randy Moss at the wideout spot. So with all the hype surrounding the offense, you might think that I like the Giants this season. No, not really. Not so fast. That defense, I mean, there's a lot of concerns. I think they're about a year or two away. They averaged the league worst 4.9 yards per carry last year. It's just not the same stingy Giants defense that everybody's accustomed to. There's some young talent there. They're just not ready yet. You know, I like Damontre more. I like Johnathan Hankins. I think he's a stud at defensive tackle. Devin Kennard looked good last season. They got Landon Collins as safety, but these are all young pups, and to ask them, all these guys, to step up and, you know, really take that defense to the next level, I'm just not seeing it. Then there's the JPP thing. I'll get into that shortly. Steve Spagnuolo does take over Pierre-Paul as defensive coordinator. He was Tom Coughlin's defensive coordinator from 2007 to 2008. He was the architect of the defensive game plan that knocked off the undefeated New England Patriots in 2007. Obviously, we all know about that Super Bowl. I mean, great game plan. Tom Brady was pressured all game long. So, you know, that front four, you got Justin Taco, Siumanura, and Michael Strahan. They did a fantastic job. But obviously, those guys aren't here anymore. Obviously, the biggest concern heading into the season will be the status of Jason Pierre-Paul following that fireworks accident on July 4th. Very, very unfortunate that happened to him. Obviously, you know, it sucks, man. I mean, lost a finger. You know, I'm an Eagles fan, so, you know, you might think I might laugh at it. Not really. I mean, it's not something to laugh at. I don't laugh at any injuries. I mean, it sucks. It really does. Playing without a finger is, you know, a lot different for a defensive end than it is for a safety, for like Ronnie Lott, for example. You literally need your hands as a defensive lineman. How's his bull rush going to be? That swim move, his tackling. Those are all questions no one knows the answers to right now. And that includes JPP because he hasn't played. Now let's get to head coach Tom Coughlin, who may be on the hot seat this season. During the Giants' season-ending press conference, a reporter asked if 2015 was a win or else season, and Mara responded by saying it wasn't an unfair statement. The Giants suffered consecutive losing seasons for the first time under Coughlin's tutelage a year ago and haven't made the playoffs since winning their last Super Bowl in 2011. Coughlin's been the head coach of the Giants since 2004. Manning wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, but he's been just average over the last couple seasons. He did improve dramatically from a woeful 2013 when he tossed a league-high 27 interceptions, surpassed the 4,000-yard passing plateau for the fourth time in his career, throwing for 4,410 yards with 30 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Still has good touch on his deep balls, still hits his receivers in stride. Just, you know, not in the top 10 right now, at least in my opinion of the quarterbacks. But I think he likes the system. He looks good in the system, and it's year two. So I'm expecting more positive strides forward from him. Ryan Nassib will back him up for the third straight year. The trio of Rashad, Jennings, Andre Williams, and Shane Vereen will split time in the Giants' backfield. Jennings missed 5 games last season due to a knee injury, but he's a tough runner and a workhorse. Williams enters his second year. Wasn't that crazy about him last year. He's a big physical downhill runner, but averaged just 3.3 yards per carry, and he's not reliable at all in the passing game. I like the addition of Vereen a lot. One of the best receiving threats out of the backfield on third down. That's going to help out manning immensely there. Odell Beckham was slotted at number 2 in my wide receiver rankings, and, that actually surprised a lot of people. I broke the mold with him for my rankings because I never rank a second-year wideout this high. I go by the prove it to me, for 2 seasons philosophy, because Cordarrelle Patterson is a perfect example of that. But when I see it, I see it. And he has it. He has everything I look for in a receiver. He is outstanding. And, to top it off, he didn't even play a full season. He caught 91 balls for 1,305 yards and 12 scores in just 12 games. But, again, there is something very, very, very special about him. Very, very special. He already has this off his hands in the league, and we've all seen that ridiculous one-handed snag he made against the Cowboys last season. Talked about it a little bit earlier. It really takes something extraordinary these days for me to get excited over something. But my jaw dropped when I saw that catch for the first time, and I couldn't get enough of it. I actually covered the game for work. I sifted through every vine of the catch, all over Twitter, all about it. Just watched it over and over and over again. Absolutely mind-boggling. Not only to effortlessly plug it out of the air with one hand, but the body control to stay in bounds along the sideline. It's not an overstatement to say that it was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. And I can't think of anybody that makes the one-handed catch look so smooth, so effortlessly, that has that kind of flexibility. The only wideout that I could think of is, maybe Brandon Lloyd. I've seen DeAndre Hopkins make catches like that. I think he actually did it against the Giants last year, although the play didn't count. But it's not the same flair. It's not the same arm extension, not the same flexibility the way Beckham does it. He's just, wow, he's unbelievable. And let's not kid ourselves. He's not my second-ranked receiver because he can catch the ball with one hand better than anybody else. It's his crisp route running, his blazing speed, his insane leaping ability. He's as smooth as it gets in the NFL right now. Rueben Randle is pretty solid second fiddle. Kind of gets overlooked. He has size and speed. I actually kind of like him a little bit. We'll see how effective Victor Cruz will be following that torn patella tendon in Week 6 against the Eagles. He's got speed and quickness. He can beat you inside or out. Larry Donnell was a revelation as a pass-catching tight end a year ago, but he can't block. Daniel Phelps is a lot better in that aspect and probably the better tight end overall. The offensive line is a question mark, especially with Will Beatty not set to return until mid-season after tearing his pectoral muscle during the offseason. He really emerged as a reliable left tackle last year. Struggled in 2013, but bounced back, and, I liked him a lot. That means rookie Ereck Flowers will be the left tackle to start the year. He's long-armed. He plays with a mean streak. Very powerful run blocker. Justin Pugh will man the left guard spot. He was drafted as a tackle but looked overmatched in 2014 in that spot. So he now makes the move inside. The other guard is Geoff Schwartz, who returns from toe and ankle injuries a year ago. He was one of the top interior lineman in the league when he was with the Chiefs, so we'll see if he can kind of get back to where he was before he signed with the Giants. Marshall Newhouse was inked as a free agent to play right tackle, and 2014 second-rounder Weston Richburg will start at center. Richburg is smart and athletic. I kind of like him a little bit. Injuries have taken its toll on JPP in prior seasons due to a bulky back. The losses of Osi and Umenyiora and Justin Tuck didn't help either, but he was healthy in 2014 and returned to the elite status as the most balanced defensive end in the game. He's equally adept at rushing the quarterback and stopping the run, putting up 12.5 sacks to go with 77 tackles. Although 9 of those sacks came in the final 5 games, and you could argue that those 9 sacks didn't really mean much because the Giants at that point really weren't in the playoff picture. It was his best season, though, as a pro since his 16.5 sack campaign in 2011. He has a very quick first step off the snap, converts speed to power with ease as a pass rusher and as a run defender, uses his awareness and length to stop the run. He's the best in the business at stopping the backside runs. He can also line up as a defensive tackle and shoot gaps to disrupt the passing lanes. Second-year Richmond product Kerry Wynn was listed as the starter in place of JPP on the Giants' first unofficial depth chart. Was an undrafted free agent a year ago and was inactive the first 11 games of the season, but showed some promise the final 5 as a pass rusher. He's very reliant on his strength, so much so that you can probably play him inside too. Robert Ayers will start on the other side. I actually like him a lot. He was a part-timer last year, but put up 5 sacks. He's always kind of shown, me something. Just never really has had the chance to be a full-time starter. So we'll see what he can bring to the table this season. Damontre Moore is being brought up really, really slowly, but he put up 5.5 sacks last year. He's got bulldozer type of power, man. This guy's going to be a good one. I think so. I'm going to try to get this guy's name right. Owa Odigizua is an intriguing talent. I did get it out a little bit. He was picked in the 3rd round, had the talent to be a top 10 pick, but had some hip injuries that he dealt with, and that kind of set him back. And those injuries have limited his ability to bend the edge, but he's a great athlete, and he's a guy to watch out for in years to come too. I like him too. So there's that. Talked about Hankins a little bit earlier. Very underrated, under the radar talent at defensive tackle. He has a unique blend of speed and power. He was in my top 10 of the defensive tackle rankings, and he's a guy that, not a lot of people know about, really, but he's very, very good. 34-year-old Cullen Jenkins will be the other starter at defensive tackle. There was some talk earlier of him possibly moving to defensive end. He played there some last season due to necessity, but looks like he's going to stay at defensive tackle. Kendrick Ellis, Jay Bromley, and Marcus Kuhn provide depth there, so there's that. Devin Kennard, John Beason, JT Thomas, they're the starters at linebacker. Kennard's surprised as a 5th-round rookie last year, had 4.5 sacks. I like him too. I talked about him earlier as well. Thomas is a speedster who comes over from Jacksonville. Started 10 games last year in place of the injured Paul Posluszny. Beason is a leader on the field. He's currently dealing with a sprained knee, but should be okay. He's a playmaker, shows some, really solid recognition traits. So he's kind of had a renaissance here in New York since, coming over from Carolina. Jamil McClain will be ready to go if Beason gets hurt, while Marcus Herzlich and Johnathan Casillas are the backups at outside linebacker. The question in the secondary is who will step up and start opposite 2nd-round safety Landon Collins, who's a physical in-the-box type of safety who excels against the run, but kind of a liability in coverage. If I were the Giants, I would give Stevie Brown a call. It appears the front-runner is Cooper Taylor to start opposite of Collins. He's a 3rd-year player out of Richmond. He has good size and speed, but, he's unproven. The Giants did bring in Brandon Merriweather not too long ago. There's also a pair of 2nd-year players in Nat Burhey and Bennett Jackson, 5th and 6th rounders respectively. So somebody's got to step up opposite Landon Collins, and the Giants. Who knows? Collins is a rookie too, so who knows what to expect from him. He was considered to be the top safety heading into the draft. Fell into the 2nd round. Demarius Randle was actually the first safety taken, although it looks like, Green Bay is going to play him at corner this season. So, we'll see what Collins brings to the table. Prince Amukamara and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie make a very solid duo at cornerback as long as Amukamara can stay healthy. Both will provide very solid man coverage. Amukamara is a good tackler. He's physical, although he does struggle at times adjusting the balls mid-flight. DRC, on the other hand, fantastic ball skills. Great leaping ability. Uses that length to his advantage. Shockey Brown, Jerron Hosley, and Tremaine McBride, they provide depth at cornerback. Josh Brown was 24 of 26 on field goals last year. Steve Weatherford battled through some torn ligaments in his ankle last season as the punter, but he's back to being healthy. Free agent pickup Dwayne Harris is an upgrade in the return game. So my prediction overall, I think this is going to be the 3rd straight year where they finish under 500. I still see them being mediocre. I've got them penciled in at 6-10. Again, I just don't think the defense is good enough to make a playoff run. I just don't see it. I could be wrong, though. The offense should take another step forward, being in 2nd year under McAdoo, however. So there's that. So that's my prediction for the season, my Giants preview. I'm sure Giants fans, if you're watching this, you may disagree because, 6-10, that's pretty harsh. But yeah, but if you do disagree, let me know. Let me know why. What's your record for the Giants this season? Who are some guys that you think are going to break out? All that good stuff. So let me know. Let's debate. I'm out of here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Bitter Birds. I'm Adrian Fedq. Later.